Ready to go if you are.
Sure, Sid, it's all yours.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. I'm sorry it's rainy and cold there today. Thanks for attending if you do happen to be there. I'm pretty sure you'll find this information helpful today. It's 3 food mistakes you're making which lead to painful joints, extra pounds, and chronic everyday ailments. All right, so why isn't my slideshow going? Here we go. So let me ask you, have you ever started a diet on Monday only to fall off the wagon by the following Friday? I know I sure have. Or did you manage to lose a few pounds and then gain them all back again? Well, trust me if that's you, because you're not alone, because diets do not work. Today's typical diets only have about a 3% success rate long term. That means that 97% of people that started a diet on January 1st are not going to have long-term success. But know this, it's probably not your fault because you're just eating the wrong foods. Gaining weight and suffering with declining health is the body's normal response to eating abnormal foods. It's all those abnormal foods that are promoted by most of today's diet plans. The good news is, though, it does not have to be this way for you because there's a lot you can do about it. So again, it all boils down to the wrong foods and the wrong plans, and your body is just responding accordingly. So today I want to share 3 important steps which will allow you to finally shed the weight that's been bugging you for years, reduce or stop taking meds every day, which aren't fixing the problems anyway, and relieve the pain in your joints, your muscles, your gut, your head too, if you're suffering with headaches, get the energy back that you had in your younger days, and how to do all of this without feeling stressed or overwhelmed. So the first step out of the 3 are how to shed 1 to 3 pounds a week and keep it off without counting calories or points or eating tiny portions. So calorie counting is not the way to go, contrary to popular belief. There's a big difference between counting calories and calorie density. Calorie counting takes a lot of time and effort and a lot of willpower, and really it's not very accurate. Plus, it's not sustainable for the long haul because we often are left feeling hungry, and who wants to be hungry, right? That's why we can't stick with it. So calorie density, on the other hand, refers to the number of calories in any given weight of food, typically a pound of food. So foods that are high in calorie density have a large number of calories per pound, whereas foods low in calorie density have a fewer number of calories per pound. And here's how certain foods weigh in when we look at the calories per pound. So we have fruits, veggies, potatoes, whole grains, beans, legumes, and whole grain pasta between 100 and 600 calories per pound. Avocados, animal foods, ice cream, refined carbs, and white flours between 1,000, or rather 750 and 1,400 calories per pound. Cheese and sugar, 1,700. Junk food and chips up to 2,300 calories per pound. Nuts and seeds and nut butters like peanut butter and almond butters, 2,800 calories. Butter, 3,200, and oils are 4,000 calories per pound. So the American Cancer Institute and the World Cancer Research Fund say that we should lower the average calorie density of our diet to 567 calories per pound. And that allows us to eat freely of the starches, veggies, fruits, whole grains, beans, and legumes. And of course, that's without the addition of sugars and added fats. Now, some of those higher calorie dense foods like avocados and nuts and nut butters and seeds, those can still be used sparingly because that average is spread out over the day. It's usually okay to use those high calorie dense foods as condiments. For example, you would include some avocado on your burrito or toss a few walnuts in your oatmeal. But those foods rather that are high in calorie density are also much higher in fat. So if you're trying to reduce your weight at a faster rate, accelerate your weight loss, or reverse a chronic condition, then those higher fat plant foods are best eliminated altogether. Excuse me. So here's an example of how foods that are low in calorie density allow us to fill our stomachs with a lot more food, but for a lot fewer calories. Now, this is what 500 calories looks like in your stomach. So there on the left, we have 500 calories of oil, followed by cheese, then meat, then potatoes, rice, and beans, and then 500 calories of fruits and veggies. And keep in mind that your stomach is about the size of your fist. And it's important that you do not starve yourself and you don't stuff yourself either, because our stomachs can expand to accommodate large portions when we overeat. Right now, some of you might be thinking, wait, are you suggesting that we eat carbs like potatoes and rice? And the answer is yes. And I know you've probably heard that, we should avoid all carbs. But know this, that not all carbs are created equal. There's a big difference between healthy complex carbs and unhealthy refined carbs. So the healthy complex carbs are the whole plant foods like potatoes, beans, rice, corn, legumes, veggies, fruit, and whole grains, where the refined carbs are those processed foods made with stripped and refined flours, refined sugars, added fats, lots of sodium. That would be pastries, white bread, snack cakes, cookies, soda pop, and chips. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are thousands of refined carbs out there. So for optimal weight and health, though, we want to focus on the complex carbs and avoid those junk food refined carbs. Well, what happens when we don't eat complex carbs? There's a cost to that. First, it's important to know that we are designed to function on complex carbs, from our brain function to our gut health, to weight control, to energy levels. In fact, complex carbs are the body's preferred source of fuel and energy. And when we avoid eating complex carbs, like the potatoes, rice, and beans, and the foods we've been talking about, we set ourselves up for constipation, fatigue, brain fog, muscle aches, high cholesterol, hypertension, and so much more. And maybe you're already dealing with some of those issues. And if so, we can do something about it. But if you're not suffering these things yet, then this way of eating will help you prevent those issues. Well, how does this apply to you? Well, if you're a busy mom with kids who love to snack, then have healthy options on hand, like fruit kebabs, pumpkin muffins, hummus and veggie, roasted potato wedges. In fact, these snacks are good for the whole family too, not just the kiddos. What if you're the decision maker on what's for dinner? Make starch the center of your meals with recipes like barbecued lentil loaf with potatoes and gravy, cheesy broccoli soup. Yes, there are ways to make delicious cheesy soups and sauces just by using plant foods and no dairy. Plant-based burgers like mushroom and wild rice burgers, or Mexican black bean burgers, African peanut stew, black bean lentil taco soup, one of my favorites, easy lasagna roll-ups, hearty chilies with cornbread, chickpea salad sandwiches, stuffed peppers. There are thousands of delicious recipes out there. But I encourage you, there's no need to feel overwhelmed. If you're just starting at this, you only need to find 6 or 8 recipes to get started. Now let's move on to step number 2, why ditching this one highly processed food allows you to accelerate your weight loss and improve your health. Well, what is that food that we're talking about? Remember that calorie density chart that we just looked at? Well, look at the left-hand column there, and let's talk about those extracted oils. Again, one of the most calorically dense foods on the planet. In fact, the most calorically dense, weighing in at 4,000 calories per pound. And I'm always hesitant to call oil a food, because really what it is just the extracted fat from a food. Did you know that that's all that oils are the pure liquid fat, which has been extracted or pressed from olives or vegetables or nuts or seeds or coconuts or fish. Again, 4,000 calories per pound. They are highly refined products which are stripped of their nutrition, and all oils are 100% pure liquid fat. 1 tablespoon contains 120 calories and 14 grams of fat. So just think about that. 3 tablespoons a day, it equals 3 extra pounds a month. And 3 tablespoons a day is not unusual in the American diet because there's so much oil in our processed foods and our bakery items, our salad dressings, and our restaurant foods. So when we use these oils, we're basically just covering our food with fat. And not only are oils huge weight busters, but they're health busters as well because they damage the protective endothelial lining on the inside of our arteries. And when that happens, when that lining inside of our arteries get damaged, it paves the way for plaque formation. Oils also impair our circulation. They're highly inflammatory, one of the most inflammatory foods you could eat. And they contribute to blood clotting issues as much as animal fats do. Margarines, too, are typically made with all oils. Butter, too, 100% fat. These are other fats that we should be aware of, too. Cheese, 70% fat. Sour cream is 63%, and high-fat dressings are 75%. Ranch is 75% fat. So for ideal health, we should be eating between 10 and 15% fat. So you can see why these high-fat foods are not going to be doing us any favors. It's really hard to lose weight and keep it off when these high-fat products are allowed to remain in the diet. So we need to learn to purchase and prepare foods without these added oils and fats. Also, like if you want to consume some olive oil, then eat the whole olive, right? Toss a few olives on your salad or your pizza. That way you're getting the olive oil, that's the olive's fat, the way it's meant to be eaten in conjunction with all the other nutrients and fiber in the olive so that your body knows what to do with it. Okay, well, there is a cost to consuming these oils. And like many people, I used oils for a long time. I once thought they were beneficial and used them in everything I cooked, basically. But we now know through the work of thousands of doctors and researchers and cardiologists that consuming pure oil is anything but good for us. Not only are they extremely fattening, of course, because they're 100% fat, but they are the most highly inflammatory foods you could eat. And there's a direct connection between inflammation and the majority of our chronic diseases. So there was a report released back in 2009 called the Dietary Inflammatory Index. And this report was done by our top cancer researchers. And what they discovered was that people that ate a very pro-inflammatory diet were susceptible to a much higher cancer rate. Oops, sorry about that. What they found that was chronic inflammation when you're eating things like oils and highly inflammatory foods equates to lower function of the kidneys, lungs, liver, and higher risks of cardiovascular disease, impaired memory, and type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, arthritis, weight gain, and many types of cancer with an increased odds. Oops, did I just lose you guys? Hang on a second. I may have just lost you. I'm not sure. Let me see here if I can pull that back up. I think we're back. Okay. But the point was that eating a pro-inflammatory diet increases the odds of cancer by 75%. Which is outrageously high. And the first time I saw that statistic, I was just floored. Okay, how does this apply to you if you eat out at restaurants a lot? Well, first know that restaurant foods are loaded with oil. So check the menu for things like potatoes, rice, beans, salads, veggie soups, whole grain pastas, portobello mushroom sandwiches, and healthy side dishes. Often you can build a really healthy meal by just looking at the side dishes at a restaurant. Also ask about the hidden oils in things like dressings and sauces, because many times even like spaghetti sauce can have hidden oil in it, especially at restaurants where you wouldn't think there's oil. Often there's hidden oil, but you need to ask about it. And then ask how the food is prepared. Request that your food be steamed or baked or grilled over a dry skillet. And of course, you don't want to have anything that's deep fried in oil or sauteed in oil. And you might even want to bring a small container of oil-free dressing along with you when you go to the restaurant. call ahead too, because restaurants are often very willing to work with you, especially, if you call ahead and tell them you're following a special diet for health reasons, because you would be. How does this apply to you if you're the shopper of the house? Well, you have to read your labels, specifically the ingredient list. This is a picture for Earth Balance butter, which is a vegan butter that I used to buy all the time before I knew any better. But if you check the ingredient list here, you'll notice that almost the entire product is comprised of oil. So check that out. It says palm fruit oil, soybean oil, canola, and olive oil. And this product is 100% fat. And you can tell because if you look in the nutrition facts box, you see the calories are 80 and the calories from fat are 80. So that means this product is 100% fat. And how does this apply if you use oils when you cook, as I used to do all the time? Well, to saute your veggies like carrots and onions and celery and peppers, you heat up a dry skillet on high, and then you add your veggies in with tiny amounts of water or veggie broth, just tiny, tiny amounts, enough to prevent sticking. And keep flipping those veggies and adding tiny amounts of liquid as needed. Because if you add too much liquid, the veggies are going to steam rather than saute. For your baked goods too, you simply replace oil in a bakery item and, in a cake or cookie recipe. So just replace the oil with unsweetened applesauce. So if a recipe called for a 1/3 cup of oil, you would just use a 1/3 cup of unsweetened applesauce instead. And now for step 3, how you can reduce or eliminate meds with a single food component that most people lack. And the answer to that is to eat more fiber. So let's have a little nutrition fun quiz here to test your fiber knowledge. Which food here do you think contains the most fiber? And please note my little warning there to be careful because this could be a trick question. So we have 4-ounce servings of milk, pork chops, salmon, or 1 egg, or do you think it's a trick question? So just play along mentally here. Which of those foods do you think has the most fiber? And if you said trick question, then you'd be the winner because that was oops, the host has asked me to start my video. Hang on, I'm going to try to do that really quickly here. I've somehow lost my mouse, which is unusual. Hang on, I'm going to, Mike, can you see my screen? Oh, I think we're lost.
Hey, Sid,
Mike?
if you can't turn your video on, don't worry. We just only see the picture of you. We just don't see your video.
I'm sorry, what are you seeing?
We're just seeing your still picture. We're not seeing your actual video feed. If you can turn it on, it's great. If not, don't worry about it.
Okay, let's see. I think I can maybe pull it up. How's that?
There you go. I think there you are. You're there. You're there.
Okay. Okay. Did you see, did you happen to see this slide here? Let's see. Did you see this slide about the fiber?
Yes.
Okay. So the healthiest populations on Earth are getting at least 45 grams of fiber a day. But it's not unusual for whole food plant-based eaters to be getting 50, 60, or even more grams of fiber each and every day because fiber is only found in plants. And I don't know if you heard that statistic before, but fiber is only found in plant foods. There's no fiber in steak or cheese or dairy products or chicken or hot dogs or bakery items typically. The thing is, less than 3% of Americans are getting the minimum RDA of about 32 grams of fiber a day. Most Americans are getting half of that, about 15 grams of fiber a day. And when we stick with a fiberless diet that has, chicken and fish and cheese and yogurt, we are looking at an increased risk of polyps and diverticulitis, higher cholesterol levels, blood sugar levels, an increased risk of diabetes and heart disease, metabolic syndrome, plus an increased cancer risk because fiber carries those excess hormones out of your system like estrogen. Those hormones remain in your system if you're not eating fiber. And those are just some of the issues that fiber helps correct. And I share all of these troubling facts with you, not because I'm trying to be a downer or scare you or discourage you, but I want you to be informed, right? I want you to know these facts because I feel I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't at least share them with you. Most people know that fruits and veggies are good for us, but they don't realize just how bad the other foods are. And after all, this is the quality of your life that we're talking about. So it's important that you know these things. Okay, let's move on to, well, how does fiber apply to you? If you're a person who eats breakfast on the run, swap out those fiberless pastries and Pop-Tarts and McMuffin sandwiches with healthy oat bran muffins or whole wheat pancakes or oatmeal topped with cinnamon and berries and ground flaxseed. Or if your sweet tooth comes to life after dinner, like mine does all the time, have a chocolate pumpkin muffin with a cup of tea or try some raw apple crumble. It's amazingly good. Or purchase a Yonana machine, which converts frozen fruit into soft serve type of desserts like an ice cream. You can get a Yonana machine on Amazon, but really you can make these frozen desserts in a high-powered blender or a food processor as well. So you can make strawberry ice cream or cherry or mango. It's all based on frozen fruit, so it's all good for you. How does fiber apply if you've been eating fiberless foods like meat and chicken and dairy products? Add a variety of plant foods into your meals by preparing recipes that are loaded with fiber plus protein and calcium too, so you never have to worry about getting enough of these nutrients. Try recipes like Sloppy Joe's or cheesy Mexican tortilla bake, all plant-based and all delicious, stir fries, mushroom pot pie over cornbread, peanut noodles with vegetables, plant-based macaroni and cheese, carrot cake muffins, sundaes and sorbets, chocolate mousse. And I hope you can see that the foods on a plant-based diet are anything but bland and boring. There is absolutely no deprivation. And I grew up in an Italian home with a lot of rich, delicious foods. And I can assure you that plant-based eating is delicious. How does the fiber thing apply to you if you're pre-diabetic or suffering with type 2 diabetes? Because really we're promoting a lot of complex carbs here. So would that work for you if you're diabetic? The answer is absolutely, because a whole food plant-based diet can lower A1C levels 3 times greater than the typical diet that's prescribed by the American Diabetes Association. That's why diabetics that eat this way, start eating this way, are able to totally get off their meds. The ADA also does agree on their website that plant-based diets are safe for anyone, including people with diabetes. So I promised you I'd teach you 3 things today. First is how to shed 1 to 3 pounds a week and keep it off. And that's where we talked about focusing on calorie density rather than calorie counting. Secondly, was why ditching this one highly processed food allows you to accelerate your weight loss and improve your health. And that's where we talked about ditching the added oils, those extracted oils. And third, we talked about how you can reduce or eliminate meds with a single food component that most people lack. And that's where we talked about the importance of fiber. So I promised I'd teach you those 3 things today. And the cool thing is that all 3 of those things are part of the same simple nutrition plan. So what does this mean for you? No matter what you're currently eating or how ingrained your habits are, or if you have veered off the path, it's never too late or it's never too hard, because you always have the option to choose a much better path. And that is this well-proven, well-documented way back to normal weight and good health, which is the whole food, plant-based, no added oil diet, the most anti-inflammatory diet available, and the only way of eating that's proven capable of reversing even advanced stages of our number 1 killer, heart disease. Now that right there should be worthy of our attention, right? Our number 1 killer can not only be prevented, but reversed. When you have all of these things working in your favor too, anti-inflammatory foods, high fiber, packed with protein and calcium, permanent weight loss, reversing your chronic ailments, reducing your inflammation and joint pain, greatly lessening your cancer risk. When all of that is going on for you, you can be confident again and optimistic about your future when it comes to your health issues. Your immune system will be so much stronger to ward off diseases and viruses, because who knows what's coming down the pike, right? As far as viruses are concerned, you'll have clearer thinking, no more brain fog. You can climb the stairs better because you'll have improved mobility. You'll have better mood, better sleep. You'll achieve your normal weight and feel good in your clothes again. You can regain your energy and feel better than you have in years. And you get all of this while truly enjoying your food. That's how powerful whole food plant-based nutrition can be. So life is too short to spend the last 10 or 20 years dealing with these preventable chronic diseases and health issues and having them be the main focus of your life. And I have several relatives right now, and their whole life is focused around their health issues. And believe me, you don't want to end up like that. When doctor's appointments and tests and procedures and medications, that's all that you focus on for the remainder of your life. I don't want to go that path, and I'm betting you don't either. So if any of this resonates you, but you have questions about it, or you're wondering how you'd get started, then I invite you to give me a call where you can get all your questions answered for free. And I promise there's absolutely no strings attached. It's a complimentary call that I offer as part of my coaching mission to help people get off the diet roller coaster and finally improve the quality of their life. And I will help you develop a plan. If you give me a call, we'll develop a plan together to get you started. And I've been helping people for over 25 years now, so I know what works and what does not work when it comes to diet plans. And I have never seen this plan not work when it's fully implemented. And again, don't worry, this is not a sales pitch in disguise. That is so against my nature. There's nothing to buy. I would never pressure you, but there is a catch because I don't want to talk to just everyone. This offer is for people who are ready and open to maybe adopt a whole food plant-based diet. You have to be mentally ready to change your food choices and willing to shop and cook differently. And you must be determined to succeed. And all of these things are necessary because I really can't help anyone who has not reached the point of being totally ready to change, right? We could just have a lovely phone call, but unless you're ready to change, then I really could not help you. But if you can say yes to all of that, you do feel you're ready to make the change, then schedule a call with me by going to sidnotter.com/session. And there is where you can book a call with me. And you'll also be asked to complete a few questions about you and what you're looking to accomplish there. And that will help me better prepare for our talk together. So once I have your answers, I'll help you solve the biggest challenge that you're facing right now. Again, go to sidnotter.com/session to book a call.
How far away are you?
Or you can just go to sidnotter.com. That'll get you there as well. And there's a free 21-day meal plan there. Full-length presentation of this prezo that you've seen. This is a very condensed version. There's a full-length presentation there. And you could also see my book there if you're interested in checking that out.
Yeah.
For today.
He does.
Thank you, Sid.
He does have pictures and stuff. It's kind of PDF.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mike. Have a good day. I hope you stay dry.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sid.
Bye-bye.
All right. All right. We hope everybody's having fun. The weather could be worse. It's a little bit